But we're really honored and pleased to have you back, Stephanie. She is a regular with us, and we just always enjoy her presence and her perspective. And we're also happy to welcome those who have joined us because she's here. And let me give you a brief introduction. Her topic for today is the Universal Worship Service, the Divine Light Within. And she is a professor in Pir Emerita, Murshida. And she's an educator, designer, world traveler, seeker, student of the world, but most importantly, a servant of God. She has received initiations and trainings from several Sufi schools, and she's the former head of the International Sufi Movement, headquartered in The Hague, Netherlands. Stephanie resigned that position in 2018 to found the Sufi Message of Love, Harmony and Beauty. She has also been recognized by the Dalai Lama, Saint Mother Teresa, Shaykh Nazim, and His Eminence Khamtrul Rinpoche. Stephanie's married and lives in Hollywood, Florida with her husband, Joe, and their new dog. I didn't catch the name. Well, welcome, Stephanie.
Yeah, puppy's name is Kelsey, as in Travis Kelce, our football player, Kansas City Chiefs football player.
All right.
So thank you, everyone, for inviting me again. I love to be with your group. The ideal of your group is quite wonderful. And Doug, I'm going to mute you just so everyone's muted. Thank you. So when I think it was when you all reached out, I thought, I'm going to look at that date. I'm going to pick that date in January. I'm going to look it up and see if something special is happening. Well, indeed, something special is happening. Today is known as World Religion Day, and this is celebrated on the third Sunday in January every year. And it's a reminder, like your group, for the need of harmony and understanding between religions and all faith systems. On this day, communities of different faiths, they come together with an opportunity to listen to each other and to celebrate the differences as well as the commonalities of this delicate intermingling that we know of culture and religion. And there are approximately 4,200 or 4,200 known religions in the world, but how many more that are perhaps unknown? And the Universal Worship Service addresses that as well. One of the activities of the Sufi message of Hazrat Inayat Khan, who was our founder that brought this Sufi message from India, is called the Universal Worship Service. And like the intent of World Religion Day, which was actually founded by the Baha'i faith in the 1950s, and they have a beautiful temple of peace that's like a lotus in New Delhi. And at noon every day, there's a prayer for world peace. I've had the great opportunity to attend that ceremony. But at any rate, so like the World Religion Day, the service of the Universal Worship is a devotional service, and it offers reverence and homage and gratitude to the one source of all light. And while symbolically acknowledging all the names and the religious forms, there is a light of truth that is shown through all of these. And I think those of you that are here fully understand that. It's the ideal of your Center for Universal Oneness as well. So the work of the Sufi message is to spread the message of unity amongst religions. It's not a movement or a message to promote any particular creed. That's why, Doug, when you asked me about Sufism, there's that traditional classical Sufism, and then there are other forms of Sufism. So our branch of Sufism is quite different than some of the classical forms of Sufism. And that's why I often avoid trying to pigeonhole this, because in fact, the Sufi work is to spread this form, this order, this lineage of Sufi work is to spread the message of unity among different religions, not promote any one religion or prophet. And it's not a mission to promote, again, any particular creed or any church or any religion. It's the work of the Universal Worship Service is to unite the followers of all different religions and faiths. And to help us see that wisdom is one. Wisdom is one. It may appear as many, but it is one. So that without having to give up one's religion, we can strengthen together by communicating and listening to each other. And by doing this, we're opened up. And if God is great, and we know God is, for me, who I was raised Catholic, but I've studied all the world religions, for me, it helps to focus the light on one's own root religion and develop a different appreciation. So we're not doing, performing our faith in a rote manner. It helps us deepen the understanding and the root of it and the wisdom of it. So in this way, when we come together, and the universal worship service is intended to bring people of different faiths together, we develop a greater trust and a greater confidence, and that we can establish this in humankind. We know all too well how religion sometimes can divide people. Historically, we've seen it. We certainly have seen it alive today in our world. But there are those groups like your group and some Sufi groups and some other religious groups and spiritual groups that are praying for unity and world peace and understanding. So therefore, the universal worship service is called within our organization as the Church of All, without any pretense, but it's where all paths that lead to God are mutually respected. And that's why we call it the Church of All. The service is a worship, and it at the same time, witnessing it, learning about it, becoming a minister in it, practicing in it, preparation for the service, it's a training for our mind where we can learn tolerance. And we can learn from different faiths and different peoples. So that's its intention. So Kyle, would you please show the altar with all the various candles for me? Thank you. So I'm now at a loss because I've lost my text. So I'm going to ad lib. So you see here, there are different candles and there are different books on this one altar. If you look at the center of the altar, there's one candle that's taller. That candle can also be, if there's a permanent location for a universal worship, as in the Netherlands, where I've actually given this a similar talk. This is a derivative of one of the talks I gave there some years ago. There they have a hanging sanctuary lamp that's always lit. That candle represents the truth of God. And from that candle in the service, that's the only candle lit when congregants enter the sanctuary, or it could be done in a home, or it could be under a tree. The universal worship service can be done anywhere, but that's the only candle that's lit. And symbolically, the candles are all lit one by one from that one candle, symbolically representing the one truth that streams through all the different religions. So when you look at the candles, if we move, also even the flower arrangements have a significance. One slightly larger, one slightly smaller, representing the feminine nature of receptivity, beauty, and harmony, and one slightly larger, representing mastery and strength and courage. So when we look at the altar on the left of the screen, the first candle that is lit from this truth candle is the candle of the Buddhist religion. I'm so sorry. The first candle that's lit is the candle that's lit of the Hindu religion. The next candle that's lit is the Buddhist religion. And the third candle is the Zoroastrian religion. We move beyond the center point. We'll come back to that candle in a moment. But we now move to the next three candles, again, continuing moving from left to right towards the end of the altar. We light the candle for the faith, the Jewish faith, Judaism. Then we light the candle for Christianity. And then we light the sixth candle for the religion of Islam. Then we come back to light that center candle that's in front of the God candle. And when we light that candle, we say, we kindle the light, symbolically representing all religions known or unknown to the world who have held aloft the light of truth amidst the darkness of human ignorance. So that's the first part of the Universal Worship Service. These parts of these services are punctuated with prayers. We won't do that today. But then comes the opportunity to read from all the holy books, which you see there in front of the candles, along a particular theme. So today our theme is divine light. I think we're finished with the altar picture. Kyle, if you could take that off. Thank you so much. So let's see. Let me move down here. Let's make sure I touched on everything I wanted to cover. I think I did. And I don't know, Kyle, do you I did want to say one thing. The religions are according to sort of historic timeline. So Hinduism is one of the oldest religions, and then Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and then again, acknowledging all the faiths, known or unknown to the world. I don't know, Kyle, do you have that slide that I made for you that has both your logo and then sort of that visual symbol?
Let me see.
If you don't, it's okay. It's not that important, but I can at least speak to it. May I do that?
Sure.
So I think that it's so important to connect this to your own group. I mean, you can see, I don't know if you can see Kyle up there, that symbol that is sort of 3 open concentric circles with the third one being closed. Someone's not muted. If you could please check that, please. Okay. So I just wanted to say again, for the Universal Worship Service, first part's lighting of candles. The second part is the reading of the Holy Scriptures. And the third part is the sermon, which I'm going to give today, which is a variation of the one I gave some years ago in the Netherlands. But I've modified it. And embedded in the sermon will be the Holy Scriptures that were read that day, many years ago, some years ago. I think it was maybe 2015, so it's been a while. At the very end, there is a benediction that's given by the person that issues this the sermon, and so I would like to do that at the end. And I think Kyle and you'll be on the page with that, and I'll remind you. So let me just say this. I want to just speak, even though we're not really seeing the image and it's not important, we saw it in the introductions, you know, that the symbol of the Center for Universal Oneness, I think the whole group really grew out of a need to express a kind of unity beyond any one messenger, anyone, you know, anyone sort of iconic, classic minister, there it is. But that those symbols represent the same things and the same ideals of the universal worship, their unity, their love, their light, their inclusiveness. And so I find the Center for Universal Oneness to be a home for me too, because it is in so many ways actualizing that ideal that Hazrat Anai Khan brought to us, in that inclusivity and acceptance of the various faiths and religions. And, you know, as Doug said in the beginning, in the introduction, that we help each other. And of course, what a beautiful thing to have that kind of brotherhood and sisterhood together. Okay, Kyle, I think we can put that away, but it's a beautiful symbol. And you can see those images on the Center for Universal Oneness's website, which is cfuo.org, Center for Universal Oneness. So thank you so much for holding that ideal in Kansas City and for all of us. So I asked this question of myself when we're talking about light. You know, what is light? Well, we know that on a physical sense, light is bestowed upon the earth as the radiance of the sun. And may we always be blessed with that radiance. Through the process of photosynthesis, plants and animals grow and thrive. And we know what it's like when that Mr. Sun hides his face for too long. We sometimes feel rather gloomy and cold, and, you know, it can be a little dismal. But think of it beyond just the sun. What wonderful advancements took place in human history once fire was discovered. I mean, this gave light, a means to cook food, to warm the cold, to illuminate the darkness. And when people, if they were cave dwellers, they were able to take this illumination into the dark crevices of the earth and to live there. I mean, this was a wonderful advancement. And within our own psychology, we have these aspects. We have this light, we have this shadow. And at first, the concepts of light and dark, or dark and light, they appear as contrast. But of course, in reality, we know that if we think about it, we observe, these seeming polarities or these opposites are really two sides of the same coin. And it may be such for us as well, two sides of us. For example, when an object faces the source of light, it's illuminated. If you look behind, it's in shadow. So, you know, I had the opportunity, my first initiator and Sufi teacher, I did a Palm Sunday retreat with her in California. And I think it kind of highlights this thing of light and shadow. She had us she had sticks, and she had us attack a paper plate, but on the paper plate, she wanted us to draw the image of our soul. And we were to carry that around in front of us. And it was a reminder of that's where we're always trying to get to, that light, that presence, to bring that forward. She was a mathematician, a teacher, and a scientist. So she understood, and she even was a nurse in a psychiatric ward. So she understood these principles of spirituality, but also psychology. And Carl Jung, he told us this: until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Oh, it's just my fate. No, it's not. We're in control of that fate. God is in control of that fate. Uniting with the will of God helps us to realize the true fate and our true destiny. We could also, my spiritual teacher, another spiritual teacher, Pir Emerita would say it this way, many times in Leaders Retreat, he'd say, if you don't deal with your shadow, it will return to you as your fate. He was trying to shake us awake to not do a spiritual bypass or to pretend everything's okay. It's not, sometimes it's just simply not, but it's a signal from inside to wake up. And so he would challenge us all the time to look within and try to be brutally honest with ourselves. And that was part of an alchemical process, a retreat that he would take us through, which one day I would like to think about maybe doing a weekend with all of you, even if it's through Zoom, because this is such a profound process of retreat, just putting it out there. So the question is how to bring those things, those hidden thoughts, those feelings, those prejudices, those little biases that might be there, from the shadows into the light. It creates that feeling of separateness, of me and other. But I think about what the Dalai Lama says, when you're in your car and you're in traffic, look next to you and you're frustrated, look next to you. There's just another you there in the traffic with you. And you can start to have compassion and be a little light around it. Okay. So how do we illuminate the darkness and these aspects of our life and ourselves? And how do we bring them into the light of revelation and realization? For me, sometimes it's prayer, sometimes it's journaling. You all probably have these methods as well, and maybe you do them in your spiritual retreats. The light of revelation that develops in us, it can give us a warmth of heart and a brilliance of character and a wholesome personality. And this can be likened to the rays of the sun, giving light and warmth to all those that come in contact with our atmosphere. You know, sometimes you're just around someone and they just make you feel better. Maybe they don't even say anything. It's just they have a disposition to uplift you, their smile, the sound of their voice, their touch, you know, pat on the hand, something like that. But the point is we kind of have to unmask the husks of our own personalities, of our own darkness. And those are things that I don't feel we need to be ashamed of or to beat ourselves up about. Their conditions that arise, that things that perhaps have happened over our lifetime that we've developed something that's a little skewed, but we can we can, with courage and faith, look squarely at that and help ourselves to heal those parts that are maybe fractured. Pierre Teilhard Chardin says, someday after mastering the winds and waves, the tides and gravity, we shall harness for God the energies of love. This is the cure right here, love, the energies of love, and then love for oneself and love for all of humanity. We shall harness for God the energies of love, and then for a second time in the history of the world, we will have discovered fire. Through our connection with this divine light, we move towards inner illumination, a radiance that lights up the shadows within our own hearts and minds, and it transforms us into beacons of light and love. As the Hindu scriptures teach, as the sun, which helps the eye to see, is not affected by the blemishes of the eyes or of the external things revealed by it, so also the one Atman, meaning soul, dwelling in all things, is never contaminated by the misery of the world being outside it. So no matter what has happened to us, no matter what's maybe fractured us, no matter what has created some darkness, which is maybe just a shield for protection, the soul is never touched by that, never tarnished by that. This scripture reminds us that despite our human shortcomings, the light of our soul is not contaminated. However, it's up to us to find a means to bring that light into the world. So why does the process sometimes scare us? I've sometimes been asked to, at Unity, actually, at Unity, the main Unity headquarters, to try to take people into their silent retreat. People are so afraid of that, to go into that silence at night. It's as if they think if they aren't engaged in some way, they cease to exist. It's a very interesting thing. There were many reasons people told me why they were afraid, but do we need to be afraid? Do we have to be like children, fearful of the night, see what's scaring me under my bed or in the closet? No, and I say no to that. No, we don't need to be afraid. God's always with us. And because fear perpetuates or allows us to perpetuate a distorted perception of reality, of the true self, that light within, preventing the light of the Atman, the light of the soul, to shine out into the world, it's our responsibility. Yes, I'm pounding my fist. It's our responsibility and our duty to bring that light forward, not only for ourselves, mostly for the world, but we're part of that world as well. To light up the world, to light up the world. The Buddhist scripture says, hold fast to the truth as the lamp that shines in the darkness. Seek salvation in the truth alone. Seek salvation in the truth alone. And hello, I hear Shakespeare saying, to thine own self be true. This self can only be seen in the light of truth with an open, non-judgmental mind turned towards curiosity. Like, oh, yeah, there is something in that dark closet. I can't quite tell what it is. Let me turn the light on that and see what it is. Oh, well, you're not so scary. Let's see what you can do for me. What are you there to teach me? Let's be curious about it. And with this, aim towards a kind of wholeness, like inviting all the parts in, inviting all the parts to the light, that we can take up the attitude of uncovering and discovering that precious secret treasure that's in all of us. It's this divine light hidden in every being and hidden in every soul and hidden in your very soul. The Zoroastrian scriptures illustrates this point in the verse that reads, what shall thou, O God, bestow upon us through thy spiritual lights? What is the bliss attainable through the truth and purity, which has been promised to all, not to some, to all of us? We can consciously bring the light of to the light, the darkness of our calamities, and seeing the calamities as just dust that needs to be cleared off our hearts so that the divine light can shine through. And let us be courageous crusaders for the truth hidden within our own being, so that our soul's purpose may be fully realized. No excuses, no masks, just come out, be the light. The Zoroastrian scripture further speaks this way: show me, O Almighty, the best path, that I may decide which path is in accord with Asha. Now, Asha means, you maybe know the meaning, but I'll interpret it here as the fire of the agent of truth. The fire of the agent of truth, like the phoenix going through the test of fire and rising from the ashes. Anyway, show me, O Almighty, the best path, that I may decide which path is in accord with Asha. Asha, again, meaning the fire of the agent of truth. Reveal to me through good mind and the recompense that befalls me, so that I may feel exalted with joy. Make me aware of everything, O Ahura Mazda, the best of all good, which has happened in the past or may happen in the future. Beautiful. Asha, the fire and the agent of truth. The truth lies within the legacy of all the world religions. Let's open to all of them. The truth provides us with a map of God's messengers. They have given us these examples by their lives, by their challenges, by every step of the way. If you read any of their biographies, you know it wasn't all little rainbows and unicorns and angels. No, there were challenges. And even they questioned themselves. If you read Mother Teresa's biography, it's a really good one, where she felt like she was shrouded in darkness, but she persisted. She persisted to give love. Anyway, these spiritual, oh my God, guardians, crusaders, they are there to help us. And if we look at their lives, they become the living examples for us. And these various faith systems provide blessed tools for reflection and different perspectives for unmasking the hoax of our own personalities and the obstacles that are there that block our happiness and well-being. As the Zoroastrian scripture said, reveal to me through good mind the recompense that befalls me, so that I may feel exalted with joy. Exalted with joy. I'm almost at the end, be patient. The Old Testament states, for you will light my lamp, Yahweh, my God will light up my darkness. There, that light. You know that little song, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, turn it on. The New Testament strikes us, or instructs us, maybe it strikes us too. You are the light of the world. So yet let your light shine before all, that they may see your good works. And you all are doing it so very well with your group. Very lovely group of people. The best of intentions. In the Quran, we read Allah, which you know is the Arabic word for God, is the light of the heavens and the earth. A likeness of God's light is in a niche in which a lamp is a lamp. The lamp is in a glass, and the glass is, as it were, a brightly shining star. May each of you discover your shining star within. And from the message of Hazrat Inayat Khan, the founder of the Sufi Message and the Universal Worship, these are his words that he contributes. Thy light, meaning God's light, hath illuminated the dark chambers of my mind. Thy love is rooted in the depths of my heart. Thine own eyes are the light of my soul. Thy power worketh behind my every action. Thy peace alone is my life's repose. Thy will is behind my every impulse. Thy voice is audible in the words I speak. Thine own image is my countenance. My body is but a cover over thy soul. My life is thy very breath, my beloved, my God. and myself is thine own being. We have within us, within our reach, within our grasp, all the grace and inspiration and illumination of all the master saints and prophets. And we can draw the beauty and wisdom from all the religions and spiritual traditions. We have a rich kaleidoscope of wisdom through which we can reclaim and rejoin with our own divine inheritance. And let us call to mind that as the sun reaches its zenith, it doesn't cast a shadow. Through mindfulness in actions, speech, thoughts, and our feelings, we can grow in equanimity, free from passion, aggression, prejudice, anything that divides us. We can rise to the zenith of our divine inheritance, as well as the deepest part of our very self, so that our life's purpose, which is the discovering of illumination of our inner star, may this be discovered and bring us into communion with all of creation, so that we and all others may become a rich constellation of light, illuminating our shared humanity. So today I'd like to offer, in the universal worship, we have a silence, a meditation that's silent, and we also have a musical meditation for reflection. Now, I know Susan had asked me if I would do the meditation, but this I would like to offer for both the music and the meditation for this. It's about 4 minutes or so, and it is from a poem by the 13th century poet, a mystic poet, Jalaluddin Rumi. Some of you know him, I'm sure you've read him. And it's titled, Didn't I Tell You? And Rumi's intentions with these words is that God is speaking to us. Didn't I tell you? It begins like that. And so let these words and let the music and let the sound of the voice kind of wash over you. You know, you can close your eyes, but there's some beautiful visuals that are kind of light and shadow images coming out of the shadow into the light, changing landscapes. And I thought it was very fitting and beautiful. And listen to the cadence of the music, the peace and certainty, and the voice also, because it all has can have an influence on us. And then I'll meet you on the other side of that, Kyle, if you'll come back to me so that I can give the benediction. Thank you. Thank you. Whenever I've traveled in the world, and sometimes I've traveled far distances alone, I always carry a Rumi book with me because I feel he understands everything and he's been through everything. He's a great inspiration for me, and I hope you enjoyed that offering. So I'd like to offer, well, I'd also like to say I'm going to be giving quite a lecture or a series of lectures on this whole idea of the juxtaposition of divine will and human will that relates very much to that poem as well. So if you're interested, Sufi-message.org, click on the classes and you'll see what's coming up. So I'd like to offer this benediction as part of this service. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your hearts now and forevermore. Thank you.